Hello, and how you doing today? My name is Alan Latham. This is my attempt at a channel. I'll tell you, I what's going on with Ukraine is what's going on in the world today is if you're an American, you're a patriot. It is just very upsetting. It's not okay. You know, there was a time when the United States was known to, do what was right because it was right. Yeah, they've done a lot of things that were bad. They've made a lot of mistakes. But I tell you what, I've been all around the world, and this is by far the best country. I mean, there's a reason why people are doing everything they can to get into the United States. It's a blessed country, but it's not always going to be that way if we continue to act like we have been as of late. Because God only puts up with foolishness for so long. And we have been a blessed country, and because of that, we have always helped those that are in need. We've helped people that are we help people across the board. Most people have no idea. They're talking about how many billions of dollars we've given Ukraine, who is at war against our stated enemy. We give billions of dollars out to countries all over the world every year just because that's what we do. But we agreed many years ago that we would help Ukraine, and even if we didn't, it's the right thing to do. I mean, they've been attacked. They've been everybody that's paying any attention knows. And I don't understand where Donald Trump's coming from, because it doesn't make any sense. In 2016, when Donald Trump first came into office, because he was not a politician, I was really a big fan. I mean, to the point where I defended him all the time. And, he went and got our soldiers back out of Korea that had been, during the Korean War. There was a lot of soldiers that were never returned home, their remains. And Trump went and doing what he does, he was able to return the remains of our troops that have been there for 50 years plus. He seemed to do things in 2016 that were just done because they made sense to me. Like, during Obama's time, nobody liked seeing $1 billion in cash being delivered to Iran, while at the same exact time they're burning American flags, chanting "Death to America." I mean, that just didn't make sense. So it was common sense. And so he stopped the Iran nuclear deal going on. I mean, just things that he did just kind of made sense, and he didn't seem like a politician. He didn't do things that were, left versus right. He just did what seemed to be right. And now, I don't know. Now it's this thing in Ukraine. He's not basing anything he's doing based on what's right. It seems like it's just because Biden supported Ukraine, he's got to be opposed to Ukraine, and that's just ridiculous and sad and disappointing. And I'm sorry, but the man continues to just bold-faced lie. Now, either he is ignorant of the facts, or he is just openly. Either he's ignorant of the facts and there's no excuse, because he has no excuse, or he's just willfully lying about it. Because and how could Zelensky, being a president, sit there and just take it? You're going to make comments about how Ukraine is obviously needs soldiers. They're snatching people off the streets. Most people don't realize Ukraine has not even conscripted soldiers under the age of 25 yet. Now, if they were that desperate, they would have done that. And the fact the U.S. was pushing them all through last year, asking them to please lower the age of conscription, and Zelensky's chosen not to do that. Right. So if he was seriously low on having trouble getting soldiers, then they would have lowered the age of conscription, but they haven't done that. And you can see right here, U.S. pushes Ukraine to lower conscription age. Well, I won't keep draft younger men, because Zelensky's chosen not to. He's trying to avoid having to do that, and I think he gets a lot of credit for that. If Zelensky was this bad guy, he would have peeled out and been gone already. He could have been gone, sitting on the beach somewhere with his gorgeous wife. Ukraine rejects U.S. call to lower draft age. Yet, and you see a couple Russian propaganda videos on TV where you see some Ukrainian police officers snatching up some guy what you understand is they have had a draft, and there are people that have been conscripted and been drafted, and there's draft dodgers. So when you see when there's a draft dodger who's been ducking authorities, yeah, when they find them, they catch them, just like we did during Vietnam. That's why I got people, did everything you could do. People that were cowards and scared to fight, and they ran to Canada. They did everything they could do to dodge the draft. Remember, it was a big thing about burning their draft cards, right? So, anyway, Ukraine rejects U.S. call to lower draft age. So that's that's the facts. That's still today. I mean, that's current, right? So, why do Ukrainians oppose lowering the conscription age? Because he believes that he doesn't want to do that. I give him credit for that. And so why would Trump and why would JD Vance lie about that in front of the whole nation? And why shouldn't Zelensky stand up and say, quietly say, you guys are making a mistake. You're not telling the truth. Why wouldn't he do that? Good for him to do that. I mean, and the other thing that's got me absolutely bothered is this number, $350 billion, $350 billion. It's just not true. Anybody could take 5 minutes of their life and go to the, take 5 minutes and go to the website and all right, here you go. This is not a made up site. This is all right. This is the site right here. UkraineOversight.gov. This is a U.S. site, right? That's what's appropriated, $182 billion appropriated, obligated. What's been dispersed, $83.4 billion. And this breaks it down to U.S. European Command, U.S. European Deterrence Initiative, replenishment of DoD stocks, and you can break it down to appropriated, obligated, dispersed, right? So that's what's dispersed. That's what's obligated. That's what's been appropriated, right? But it's not sent. Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, appropriated, obligated, dispersed. Okay, so where does Donald Trump just gets these numbers out of where? Where do they come from? So it's not true. He's not being honest. That should upset you. If you are you're a Trump supporter, you are somebody who loves America, you're a patriot, then you would think that you would want your country to be at least being honest when they're negotiating or when they're trying to trash a world leader that's supposed to be an ally. I mean, come on, guys, wake up. The things that Trump is doing is not anything we should be proud of, unless you're just lazy and blind and you're not paying attention to what's going on. And a lot of people are, unfortunately. They don't understand. If you guys had any clue, the amount of Russian propaganda that's pumped into this country, and they do a very good job of it. They filter it into all your social media stuff that you watch. And as long as it tickles the narrative that you think might be true, you see headlines and you just buy into it, that you believe that it's accurate, instead of taking 5 minutes to look into what you've been told. I've had people, say to me, these very things. They'll say, Ukraine is pulling guys off the streets. They're just random people off the streets. No, that's what Russia's actually doing, right? They're pulling people out of the jails, out of the prisons. They're pulling people out of the drunk tank. That's what Russia's actually doing. Russia is an evil group of people these days. Currently, that's just what they are. I mean, by their actions, by the fact that they're bombing civilian infrastructure, they're bombing hospitals, they're bombing every single night. They're bombing and murdering civilians all over the country. And we have not heard Trump say one thing about Russia, not one thing negative about what Russia's doing. Why would he not at least one time, like a man, like a grown man, mention the bully? Why would he not one time mention the bully that is causing all of this problem? Why won't he one time address them as they should be addressed? Yes, I know he wants to be able to negotiate. Yes, I understand that he wants to be able to, that he doesn't want to say anything bad about them and then try to negotiate, but at least be honest. I mean, at least your U.S. is in a position of strength, but this is not being handled in any way correctly. And it's sad and it's disappointing and it's discouraging and it's frustrating. And I just, I don't even know what else to say about it. Um, you know, Russian propaganda is a powerful tool. It is very powerful. Joseph Goebbels was the propagandist for Nazi World War II, and he was a master at what he did. I mean, he was very good at it. He convinced people that their neighbors that they've known for years who were Jewish were all of a sudden inhuman and were worthy of being murdered, that they were the source of all of their problems. If you think propaganda will not affect you or me, you are sadly mistaken. Let's see. Joseph Goebbels. There was no point in seeking to convert intellectuals, for intellectuals would never be converted and would anyway always yield to the stronger, and this will always be the man in the street. Arguments must be therefore crude, clear, forcible, and appeal to the emotions and instincts, not intellect. Truth was unimportant and entirely subordinate to the tactics and psychology. The truth is unimportant, and propaganda truth is not important. Well, what is important is that it appeals to people's feelings, that it appeals to their emotions, right? So they just fill the airwaves and fill social media with so much stuff that Zelensky's crooked, that Zelensky's this, that the Ukrainians are this, that they're stealing money. So every time you hear something remotely similar to that might go along with that, you assume that it's true, but you're mistaken. You're mistaken. Yeah, Joseph Goebbels was very good at what he did. The essence of propaganda consists of winning people over to an idea so sincerely and vitally that in the end, a lie told once remains a lie, but a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. If you repeat a lie often enough, people will believe it, and you will even come to believe it yourself. That's a sad fact, but it's true. That if you tell a lie long enough, loud enough, people will believe it. And if a person tells a lie long enough and loud enough to enough people, they will believe it themselves. It's hard to believe that that's a fact, but I've seen it. I know it happens. People can sit there and they will start to tell lies, and they will tell them over and over again until they believe it themselves. And Russia's been lying about this thing from the very beginning. When there was a big build up on the border, and all the different countries were addressing the issue. They were looking at what's going on, and every single one of Putin's lackeys, Lavrov, and all, they were all making jokes saying that the United States was stirring up trouble. They have no intention of bombing Ukraine. They have no intention of invading Ukraine. Well, we all know that turned out to be lies, right? That all turned out to be lies. So if you repeat a lie often enough, people will believe it, and you even come to believe it yourself. Joseph Goebbels. Joseph Goebbels will be very proud of the Russians these days. Peskov. Russia is not going to attack anyone. This is prior to the invasion. There's no invasion. There's no such plans. The ambassador to the U.S. This is what Zelensky's saying. He's saying that there's been multiple ceasefires. Russia just breaks them. You cannot depend on anything that Russia says. The only thing Russia respects is strength. The only thing Russia will yield to is strength. Russia is on the ropes right now, and Putin, and Trump's tactics or Trump's whatever the hell he's doing. Fact is that Putin lies. We know that Putin lies whenever he's talking, whenever he's speaking, and the same for all of Putin's cronies, all of Putin's people. They just lie.
It does worry us. That's why, of course, we have to keep our military
and they have no concern about it. They have no, it doesn't faze them. You know, it should matter. It used to matter. You know, character, integrity, these things used to matter. There was a time when these things mattered. That no self-respecting person would want to stand in front of the world and just bold-faced lie about easily provable
Why are the troops there?
issues.
Again, I explained to you.
Yeah, this is the Russian ambassador prior to the invasion.
In Donbass, this is near the very proximity to our borders. We have all the reasons to be worried. And that's why our troops are there. They are there in different numbers from time to time, but it's absolutely
this is exactly
it doesn't concern you
what you got when you're dealing with Russia. You can't trust anything they say.
Yeah.
Your assessment from what you're saying is that Russia has no intention of invading Ukraine.
Have you heard any Russian official, any Russian politician, any Russian deputy ever saying that?
And most people don't realize, when you know, Russia is a permanent member of the UN. The UN has kind of proven itself to be pretty toothless at this, to put it mildly. They seem to, I'm not sure what they have authority or power to do. I do know that recently we just voted in the UN. We voted along with Russia and a few other dictators and autocrats in the world for the first time ever in my lifetime that the United States voted with other dictators and autocrats, which is unusual. It was a resolution. There was a resolution for stating, you know, opposing the war, opposing Russia's invasion of Ukraine. There was a resolution that was calling for Ukraine's borders to be, you know, to be honored. And this resolution was put forth in 2022, and we approved the resolution in 2023. We approved the resolution in 2024, and they redo it each year. And but 2025 we voted with Russia. We did not approve it, along with 17 other countries. We're in the amazing company now of Sudan and Mali. And it's almost, if it wasn't so sad, it doesn't make any sense, guys. For those who are, you know, all about Trump and you're all about being a patriot, think about, I mean, what's happening? What's going on? What's going on? Why are we siding with dictators and people that are murderers, mass murderers, and war criminals? Why? Since when is that the company that the United States keeps? I mean, honestly, that's not what we're about. That's not what we're supposed to be representing. But currently, that's our recent that's our newest I guess that's our future allies. I don't know. I guess North Korea's next. I don't know. And I see people pop on social media and, oh yeah, Trump did such a good thing. Trump finally stood up to that Zelensky. Zelensky's a crook. You guys, it's ridiculous to hear what people say when they obviously don't know what they're talking about. They don't. I mean, the simplest thing is to look at the funds. It's easy to find. It's so easy to find this information online. So Trump keeps coming up with $350 billion. And if you notice, when Zelensky's sitting there and he's saying, Trump says this 350 billion word and this number, and Zelensky's like looking at his associates and he's going, you know, that number's not right. Do you think if Trump was sitting in a meeting and somebody was lying, bold-faced lying about the United States, you think he would not say something back? You think he would not correct them? Come on. I mean, that's ridiculous to think that he should do that. Why should he do that? And why should Trump lie? Why should it be okay that he lies? This sucks for me to be able to say it because I feel like an idiot because I was a Trump supporter. I did vote for him in 2016. And I'll be honest, I did not vote for him the last time. I just couldn't bring myself to it. It just made me sick to my stomach leading up to this last election. I was torn all the way up to the night of, and I just because I had something felt all wrong about him this time. I don't know if his feelings are still hurt or if if he's just that, I mean, it seems like he's just emotionally immature for an 80-year-old billionaire, it's just silly, really. These things are provable. They are not, a lot of these things that Trump says they're just ridiculous. And so many people jump right behind him and support it, not realizing that they're also spreading lies and disinformation and Russian propaganda. Do you want to be someone that's spreading Russian propaganda? Is that okay with you? Do you care? There was a poster on my wall when I was a kid. So my mind's made up. Don't confuse me with the facts. So many people are like that. Their mind's made up. They don't want to hear the facts. They don't care about the truth. Their mind's already made up. They already know what they believe. And they don't want to be told anything different. See, I've never been like that. I've always wanted to know the truth. I'm always interested to hear both sides and look at all different sides of something, right? So I can have an idea, because I don't want to be, especially nowadays in this day and age of social media, you don't want to just be spreading something just because it pops up. Do you want to be someone known to spread lies and spread disinformation? Or, I mean, that's okay with you. And some people are okay with it. Unfortunately, we're raising a generation of young people that don't care about lying anymore. They could care less, they don't. They're okay with lying because they're being taught by our leaders, these crazy, absolutely off the wall leaders. They're teaching our young people that's how you're supposed to be. If you want to be rich and powerful, just bold-faced lie, But I mean, liars end up in a bad place. I think things are not going to go well with people that openly live their life just telling lies. I think it's not going to go well with them. I do not. At the very moment that the Ukraine was being invaded, in the United Nations, the Russians, who are permanent members of the UN, they had their turn. They rotate who's and they do each month, a new representative chairs the meetings for the month. And Russia just happened to come up and take their spot at, it was their turn to be the representative. And so Russia was able for that first month to just veto anything that came down the pike. I mean, you think Russia didn't plan that? You think Russia didn't plan that? You think No, they did. Zelensky could not have stopped this unless he completely capitulated to every one of Russia's whims. If he would just yielded and kissed the ring of Putin, that's the only thing that would have stopped the invasion. And then maybe. I mean, Putin sees himself as this little czar, this little dictator. He thinks he's like Peter the Great. He thinks he's, but he's not. He's a thug. He's a KGB thug, and he's.
Владимир Путин. Обращаются к вам дети Украины. Отзовите свои войска.
Sad. We need people in the United States to wake up. We need people that support truth, that care about truth.
I won't stop.
I like this little video right here.
And challenging the free world.
Perfect.
My master plan is to restore the Soviet Empire. The truth is that I've gone too far to stop myself now. And I didn't see a reason to stop if you let me get away with it. The truth is, I'm bombing
Putin tell the
civilian
truth.
homes.
Here's your one shot. Here's your one shot to see
Children.
Putin tell the truth.
The truth is that I'm a terrorist, and I will continue to terrorize the whole world. The truth is that I always attack the weak. The truth is that the only language I truly understand is force. If you show it, I'm done.
To hear Putin tell the truth. That was it. I might play it again, but that was the one shot if you want to hear Putin tell the truth. So soon after the 2014 invasion of Ukraine, one of the first things that started to happen was Putin started to stop any independent journalism. Any independent media outlets were closed. Were starting to close one by one, and they just were. The steel curtain was beginning to fall. It was beginning to come down because Putin knew that what he was doing was not right. He knew that it was completely illegal. He didn't care, and he needed to shut people up. So, the first thing you do is, that the first casualty of any war is the truth. That's the first casualty of any war, and so he had to take control of the information space, and that's exactly what he did. And so, the media was all independent media was starting to be shut down, and where we're at today is there's only Kremlin approved media. Basically, there's Russia One, there's RT News. It's just they're all approved by the Kremlin. So and any outward displays and any type of outward, there is no such thing as people coming out to protest. They will immediately be dealt with by the Russian authorities harshly. Young, 12 years old, 80 years old, they don't care. They will snatch them off the streets in no time and have them put away. And so any type of protest or any type of street, anything going on that's outside has to be approved by the Kremlin. And so when you hear them say that they want peace, that all they want is, that's the same thing. If you really paid attention, if you're a student of history at all, and that's what Hitler did. I mean, he kept saying the whole time he wants peace. He just wants peace. As he was blitzkrieging through country after country, he was, Putin said it many times. You say one thing, but you do something else, and that's what he does today. And so, recently, not too long ago, a few blocks from the Kremlin, they had well, I'll let you see for yourself. Thanks to Russian Media Monitor for this. Flight task of, unfortunately, that missile has failed test after test, but USA is the enemy. They think they're the good guys, and Sarmat. This does not look like peace to me. This is Russian approved, Putin approved, a few blocks from the Kremlin. Against Satanists. So he believes we're all Satanists and that he is the conservative bastion of Christian belief. And it's sad, people. But people need to wake up. People need to wake up and see who you're dealing with. The man is evil. The man is as close to a modern day Hitler as we're going to see. Ukraine is willing to continue to fight, use their amazing, heroic, brave soldiers. They know what they're fighting for. They know they're fighting for their land. They're fighting for their freedom. They do not want to be subject to Putin's terror and his oppression. And the land that they currently occupy, there's millions of people still there trapped that are consistently kidnapped, consistently the doors are kicked in, they're consistently disappeared. Sometimes they come back with horrific stories of torture. Sometimes they don't come back at all. There's been reported mass rapes because they believe they're weeding out the Ukrainian bloodline with good, strong Russian bloodline, and it's horrific. And our president, for some reason, is wanting to side with this man. And I think that the people of the United States need to wake up, and we need to let our voices be heard here, because we still have the ability to speak out here. We have the ability to have our voices heard, and I think we need to do that. So yeah, they're marching in the streets saying for Russia to nuke Washington, for Russia to nuke London, for Russia to nuke the decision-making centers, but yet they want peace. And instead of Trump standing up to this evil and trying to do the right thing, he's hurting our allies, our friends. Is that what would you do that? Would you do that if your neighbor was being beat down? I mean, and by a bully, would you not want to stop that? Would you not want to stand up for them? I mean, I don't understand. This is not how I was raised. This is not how I see the world. I don't understand, and I hope that if you are someone who's bought into this garbage that Trump's saying, that you'll at least open your eyes and do a little homework on your own. Do a little bit of research. Do a little bit of reading. Don't just swallow what they're serving and believe that it's accurate. It's not. Ukraine is the good guys in this. Zelensky could have been gone. He stayed at the beginning when we watched other leaders bail out when the going got tough. And Zelensky, that the famous quote when he says, "I don't need ammo. I don't need a ride." He says, "I don't need a ride. I need ammo." He says, "We got to stay here and fight." And the Ukrainians have fought against incredible odds. They have absolutely proven themselves worthy they are literally modern day heroes alive in our time every day, making history. And here we are, their biggest ally, and the ones who are supposed to be supporting the underdog, supposed to be supporting democracies around the world, supposed to be supporting the people that we signed papers that we would support. Remember the whole Budapest memorandum? And I could do a whole video about that Bill Clinton, his first when he was sworn into office on January the 20th, Bill Clinton's first international call was to the Ukrainian president. He wanted so badly for them to sign that non-proliferation agreement. He wanted so badly to talk the Ukrainians into giving up their nuclear weapons. And he personally pursued them for, multiple state visits his first year to Ukraine, and was able to finally convince them to sign an agreement, that Budapest memorandum, stating that we would defend them if they're attacked by a nuclear power. We would defend their sovereign borders, that if they would give up their nuclear weapons, that we would defend them. We would supply them with military aid, that we would not allow financial coercion to be used upon them, which we're using upon them now. I mean, what happened to us? What happened to our country? What's happened to I just want everybody to wake up. I want everybody to see and search for the truth. And I want everybody that cares about this country. If you care about this country, we need to support Ukraine. Yes, we do. We need to support Ukraine. The money that's been spent, of the numbers that I showed earlier, I'll click back on this for 1 second. The $350 billion is not true. Okay, it's not. Dispersed, 83 billion. Obligated, I can tell you that a large portion of what has been sent has been dispersed. It never left the United States. A lot of it's going to restore our back stock. We sent them HIMARS, and HIMARS is an amazing piece of equipment. You know, we send them the M270s. These are amazing pieces of equipment, but we send them equipment that was, a lot of it's 20 years old, still better than what the Russians have. You know, the ATACMS missiles, the long range, or they're actually medium range. They're not long range, but those were all about to be have to be disassembled. They were all at the end of their life. You know, it was going to cost us millions of dollars to have them dismantled and disposed of. Instead, we gave them to Ukraine. They were at the end of their 20-year life. So anyway, God bless you guys. Have a good day. Hopefully I'll see you again. Slava Ukraine.